This is the Solo Coach podcast where it's all about everything you need to build your business solo. Look, building a business alone can feel almost impossible. There's just so much to get done. That's just your doubt talking. I'm Michelle Sarah, and I'm here to talk you through building a one-woman coaching business from the ground up. I'm talking marketing, time-saving systems, AI shortcuts, client attraction, energy, and belief, all to help you find your way no matter your age, stage, or starting point. Ready? Let's get going. All right, I have my cup of tea, and I'm ready to sit down and have a conversation with you about how to make a promise as a coach that you can deliver on. I have seen so many times, experienced, talked about with coaches in around messaging, because I am a copywriter. They get hung up on this idea of making a promise. And so they end up dancing around anything concrete because they're afraid to commit to a promise that they can't deliver on. So we're going to talk about that and how you actually need to understand what making a promise is and approach it so that you can make a promise that you can deliver on. Now, you're pouring your heart into this coaching thing, right? You're learning, creating, and showing up even when it feels like no one's really noticing. This is the case often in the first 1 to 3 years. But something about how you're talking about your work is wishy-washy. It doesn't feel compelling because it's missing a tangible outcome. And when you think about committing to one specific result, fear creeps in. This is what I was talking about. You have these doubts that pop in your head, like, what if I can't deliver on this promise? What if someone misinterprets it as a guarantee? Or maybe it will box me in, making it impossible to share everything I offer. Now, the whole thing about misinterpreting as a guarantee, like I've had this conversation with many coaches of that immediate, foot on the brake, uncertain, I don't want to make a promise. I can't guarantee that for them, right? I can't guarantee XYZ for my client. And you immediately kind of freeze up. So what happens then when you go through this kind of thought loop around trying to create a promise or trying to say that you can help your client achieve something specific? Instead, you just avoid it. It's safe. But avoiding the promise gives your audience nothing to latch onto, nothing to hold onto. And if they see that you're committed to a specific result, one that they really want, they're going to zero in on that. But if you don't have that, they're not zeroing in on anything. So now you become the way to get the thing they want. So if you're able to make this specific promise, this thing that they want, and they kind of zero in on that, now you are the way that they're going to get to that. But if there's nothing tangible, as I said, it creates hesitation. And that hesitation can mean the difference between someone clicking away or signing up. So the truth, you don't need to promise everything. You just need to promise the one thing you know you can deliver on that is something your client needs and wants. It can be the first step toward the bigger outcome, but it needs to be tangible, solid, and well-defined. So remember I made the comment above about the thought loop, and one of the thoughts being what if they misinterpret it as a guarantee? Well, let's look at guarantee versus promise. Guarantee is the thing on the page that says, if you purchase this, you have a 30-day guarantee to get your money back, right? That kind of thing. And you could certainly make a promise that you in turn guarantee if that's how you want to approach it, and you can guarantee it. But for most coaches, especially in the first 1 to 3 years, they're nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. And so what I am sharing with you through this article and this extra conversation and commentary is that you don't have to, but you can still create something that's just as effective if you understand the difference. So, making a promise in your messaging feels like stepping onto shaky ground. You're putting yourself out there, and the fear of getting it wrong is very, very real. Maybe you've also thought, what if I overpromise and let someone down? What if I get called out for it and a client wants their money back? Like, that's a real fear and concern. What if I damage my reputation as a coach? Another very real and valid concern. And I've been in that place, second guessing every word, stuck in the loop of wanting to provide something distinct and tangible clients can walk away with, but also kind of terrified of saying something that I can't live up to. So here's what I figured out. Now, one, the promise doesn't need to be everything. It just needs to be something specific that matters to your client and you can do. A promise is less about perfection and more about connection that triggers action. When you commit to one clear outcome, your audience knows exactly what to expect, and they feel that their decision to work with you is a sound one. And when a promise is too big, you can feel it. It might be enticing, but some part of you says, that's not possible, or that's a bunch of bull, and you'll distrust it, whether it's true or not. So keep your promise believable. Like, what's real to your client? What can your client feel to be real and possible? They may have this desired outcome that's this really, really big goal. And if you know for certain 100% that you can deliver on that really big goal, go for it. But if you don't know, and you don't feel absolutely certain, or you simply don't want to make that kind of promise because there's too many variables that we don't control, then simply make a promise on something like the first step towards that really big goal. Once I stopped overthinking and learned how to create promises that align with what I knew I could deliver, how I talked about my work became sharper, simpler, and way more effective. When your promise is clear, believable, and specific, it's like flipping a switch in your business. And it feels so much better. And backing up a second there, when I said, when a promise is too big, because you've certainly come across this before in someone else's work, right? When a promise is too big, you can feel it. That's the energy of it. Energy is everything. Or let me correct that. Everything is energy. So when a promise is too big, you can feel it. That's the energy. So that's another part of this, in that when you determine your promise, you want it to feel very real for your client, very possible, very believable, and you want it to feel really good to you, because that's the energy of it. That's the energy that you're bringing. That's the energy that you're putting into that promise. That's important. So, as I said, when it's clear and believable and specific, it's like flipping a switch. And suddenly your audience doesn't have to guess what they'll get when they work with you because, well, by the way, they would just move on. They wouldn't work with you. They see it. It's tangible, doable, and exactly what they've been searching for. Because even if it's a promise for a very small step towards, there's something there that makes them feel like they are taking a step in the right direction. They're stepping on the path, they're starting the journey, and that they will reach that goal. Imagine putting yourself out there talking about your work with clarity and confidence, and instead of feeling like you're rambling and hoping the right words will magically appear, people start nodding along, thinking, finally, someone who gets it. Wow, I want more information on that. Tell me more. How amazing would it feel to know potential clients are reading your promise and instantly feeling a sense of relief, like this is it, this is the coach who's going to help me. What if instead of stressing over every word, you had a promise so solid it became the foundation for everything you say? Social media posts, emails, even those what do you do questions, they just flow easier, sharper, more naturally. Now, here's the best part. A clear promise doesn't mean you're over-promising or claiming the impossible. You don't have to promise 7-figure results in 30 days, unless, of course, you can. It just means you're giving your audience something concrete to trust in. Remember I said it's something that makes them feel like they are stepping onto the path. They are beginning the journey. They can trust that this process, this work with you is going to lead them to their desired outcome. Don't worry, I'm going to share some examples really soon, so stick with me. Let's talk a little bit more about this key to this promise, about making your work feel tangible, trustworthy, and even compelling, depending on the promise, right? We're always going for compelling in our messaging. It's tricky to get compelling right because we want compelling to be, well, compelling, but we don't want it to be not true or overhyped, overinflated, okay? So you're not promising the moon, you're not promising world peace when you commit to a clear, specific outcome that aligns with what your clients deeply want, not necessarily the ultimate desired outcome, and you know that you can deliver it. This changes everything. Really, everything. It shifts your energy too, because how confident do you feel when you know with 100% certainty that you can do a thing? So when you're talking with potential clients and you are sharing your promise and it is something that you have spent some time on and know with 100% certainty that you can deliver that, you are going to feel way more confident saying it and you're not going to have any difficulty with it. So here's what creating the right promise will give you. Confidence, as I just said. Talking about your work feels like second nature when you're not stuck in the loop of vague statements or trying to cover all the things. You know what I mean. I've certainly been there. Connection. Your audience feels like you're speaking directly to their struggles and dreams, and trust me, that's attractive. Tangible clarity. Your audience immediately knows what they walk away with, or at least where they'll start. No more getting lost in vagueness. And truly, I mean, if everything is vague, you're not going to grab their attention enough to lean in and listen for more. You're going to quickly lose them. When your promise is believable, aligned, and actionable, it becomes the heartbeat of your messaging. And everything else from your social media emails to that bio you've been procrastinating on flows from it. Now, start small. Pick the one thing you're 100% confident you can deliver. Think about the first step that gets your clients closer to the bigger transformation they're craving. It's often the smallest steps that pack the biggest punch, right? I mean, think about it like I was just having a conversation with a really good friend earlier this morning about exercise. God, I think that should be shrouded in dark, gloomy clouds because it is the one thing that I struggle to do consistently. And I was going back and forth with her on it because she's been doing really well at working out consistently and it shows, right? She just looks great. I was lamenting my difficulty with it. And, you know, it's yes, there's this bigger goal that I have in relation to exercise, but my goodness, that very first step of getting started and then the next step of being consistent, that's 99% of it, right? Not necessarily the weight loss or the muscle tone or the better flexibility. All those things are things I want, yes, but just right now, getting started and becoming consistent, that's huge. Do you get what I'm saying? It's often the smallest steps that pack the biggest punch. So right now, no matter if you're brand new in coaching, you're just starting your business, or you've been in it for a little while, but you've been struggling with this vagueness, right? And struggling with the confidence to make a promise. Can you make a promise for a small step that packs a big punch? Let's look at some examples. I'm going to take a sip of tea here. Okay, message. I help coaches build a successful business without the overwhelm or energy drain. Promise, in your first 30 days, you'll nail down messaging that actually speaks to your clients, a marketing plan that feels doable, and the confidence to finally move your business forward. See that? Or example 2, I help women over 50 rediscover who they are and create a life that feels deeply fulfilling. Promise, in just 8 weeks, you'll gain clarity on what you truly want, identify what's holding you back, and take the first steps toward living a life that feels like yours again. Notice some things here. There's usually some kind of number involved. So 30 days, 8 weeks. And in this last one, it even says, take the first steps toward. Message, I help busy moms lose weight in a way that fits their life without giving up their favorite foods or spending hours in the gym. Promise, over the next 12 weeks, you'll lose up to 10 pounds while eating foods you love, moving your body in ways that feel good, and building habits that stick. Now here you can say, it says, over the next 12 weeks, you'll lose up to 10 pounds. This is getting a little bit bolder. So for someone who is a fitness coach or in the health and wellness, and they feel confident that their client can lose up to 10 pounds in the next 12 weeks. That's a solid promise. Message, I help people connect to their inner wisdom so they can create a life that feels aligned and meaningful. Promise, in just 6 weeks, you'll uncover what's been holding you back, strengthen your intuition, and start making decisions with confidence and ease. Again, it's just those first steps sometimes. See how the promise gives the message depth. It tells your audience exactly what they can expect and makes your work feel tangible, real, and oh so compelling. Your promise should feel empowering, like you're stepping into your zone of genius and confidently saying, this is what I can do for you. Remember, it's not about trying to solve everything. It's about finding that sweet spot between what your audience craves and what you know you can deliver. And trust me, you already know. It's just waiting to be uncovered. Here's how to get started. Reflect on your strengths. So what's the one thing you're absolutely confident you can help someone achieve? I don't care how small it is, teeny tiny, I don't care. Just start brainstorming the list. I can help someone gain clarity on who they help in their coaching business. I can help someone gain clarity on the kind of digital products they can create for their coaching business. I can help someone get clarity on their energy, where it is right now, and how they can amplify their vibration and begin to attract more of the things they want into their life. So it could be the first step toward a bigger transformation, like building a foundation before the house. No one's moving into a house without floors, right? So you're just focusing on the most tangible outcome you can provide. So as I gave that example, if we're promising the whole big thing, sometimes, especially in the first 1 to 3 years, if we're jumping on that bandwagon of so much of what we see in marketing, right, trying to promise that really big thing, and we don't have all the floors in the house built yet, then it isn't going to feel safe to move forward. It isn't going to feel logical, and people won't take you up on it. So listen to your audience. Pay attention to the words your potential clients use. What outcomes are they dreaming of? What struggles keep them awake at night? Maybe they're craving financial freedom, so your promise could be launch your financial freedom plan in just 20 days. Do you know how much relief a person can have from simply putting a plan in place? That's huge. Or perhaps they're overwhelmed by clutter, so your promise becomes create a stress-free, organized home in 8 weeks. Their language is your goldmine. Don't overcomplicate it. Next, make it believable. As I said earlier on, it's really important that it feel real to your client. If your promise makes you think, wow, even I don't believe that, your clients won't either. Instead, aim for something grounded, realistic, and solid. A believable promise builds trust and helps your audience feel safe saying yes. Keep it specific. Feel better is vague. Wake up with more energy and focus in 30 days is clear, tangible, and speaks directly to their desires. We might want to put start waking up at the beginning. Otherwise, people might think that they're not going to wake up for 30 days, and that wouldn't be good. Specificity creates trust. It's like saying, here's what's possible for you, and leaving no room for doubt. The goal isn't to be perfect right away. Spoiler, Perfect doesn't exist. But with time, you'll refine and hone your promise until it feels easy and certain. Your promise is going to evolve over time, just as you will. As your business grows, you gain more experience, maybe even your focus shifts, right? Your promise will change too. So just know that the promise you identify right now is for right now. It's going to change. When your promise is clear and compelling, it's like handing your audience proof that they'll succeed, even if it's just the first, often hardest step toward their goal. Suddenly, they know where they're going, and it's crystal clear that you're the person to help them get there. Hey, thanks so much for joining me for the Solo Coach podcast. It means so much to me that someone out there is listening. Now, if you know it's time to do something different about your business, and you know if it is, consider joining me for my Happy and Successful Business Mastermind, where you can get clarity, support, and a plan. I'll leave details in the notes below. I also want to share a free resource for you. If you haven't already subscribed to my newsletter, Find Coaching Clients, I encourage you to do so. I'll deliver to your inbox tips and strategies that make finding coaching clients for your business much easier. I'll see you next time.